we're back. We're going to be working on this thing today. I've got a couple things. I've got a fuel cell that's leaking. It was used when I bought it, and it's aluminum, and apparently they just all crack. So I've got a new fuel cell to put in here, and on the last trip out, I popped a lower radiator hose, kind of like the Fab Rats did on their off-road wrecker. One of those metal hoses with rubber on both ends. Popped a hole first time out, or well, not first time out, but there's not more than 100 miles on it, and it popped. So I've got to fix that today, and I've got to replace that fuel cell. So let's get into it. So the hose we're dealing with is right down there. You can just barely see it. See if I can focus. There it is. So I got to pull fresh air tube off, bypass or the overflow hose off, and then I can get it. I don't know how much you can see. You can see my tranny cooler's kind of in the way. And from the other side, there's not much of a view. So we'll pull it off and I'll show you what we got when we get it off. So for this, at least for the front hose, all we need is a couple of nut drivers. We're just going to pull off a clip here, pull off a couple hose clamps, drain the coolant out, and we'll get that hose off. Should go pretty quick. All right, let's get after it. First, we had to pull off the intake air temp sensor plug. And the big hose clamp for the boot. And my intake comes off in a assembly. A little dusty. Okay. Luckily this has a drain, but it is 3 inches over the top of my differential, and it's gonna make a mess. So let's get a bucket and get that going and get it draining. If you guys haven't seen my low buck, low clearance radiator drain yet, that's how I do it. This is a 5-gallon bucket, a little piece of riffing tin, and it usually does pretty good. Low buck, but keeps the antifreeze off the floor, at least for now. This is just the stuff coming out of the radiator drain petcock. I doubt the radiator hose is going to be as clean, but we'll see. All right, we're diving in. See what happens here and how bad of the mess we make. It's a pretty short hose, so it shouldn't be too horrible. And I think the hole's big enough that it's been draining for a little bit anyways. We'll find out. When you hear a bunch of splashing, you'll know. Well, this is the hose. I don't know if you can see it or not, but right in here, there's a little tiny wing or little tiny pinhole. Not sure how that come. The end of the hose is clear up here, but there's a hole right here. Who knows? Let's go to Napa and see if they have a regular hose. We'll come back soon. So, went to the parts house. Needed to try and figure out how to change from this to a regular rubber hose, so this doesn't happen again. So, out with that, and in with this. Little trimming, and I think it'll work just fine. So let's see what we can do. All right, I think we got one, and with a little magic, hocus pocus, it'll work. All right, we're climbing in here, reaching down into the depths. Maybe we'll reach up from the depths. Well, this is perfect. I don't think that I can ask for much better than this. Well, that's pretty good. I think that's going to work out good. We're going to go get some our vacuum fill set up, and we'll come back when we get that set up. So this is my kit. It's just an Amazon kit, but boy, if you're ever tired of dealing with filling up radiators, making a mess, and wondering if you got all the air bubbles out, these vacuum testers or vacuum fill setups, they're the way to go. As you can see, I've got about 17 inches of vacuum on it, which is plenty. You just hook up air to here, push this button, and it pulls air through here, and you open this valve right here, and it sucks all the vacuum out. And then when you fill it, you close this up, close this, and you just turn this one on, and this tube goes into your bucket of coolant, and it just fills it until it doesn't need any more. So I mix my coolant 50-50 in the bucket. It also works good if you want to recycle your existing coolant, because you don't have to switch it out of different tanks or anything. You just pull it out of that same one, and no more hose or no more leaks or anything. So it works good. I'll show you what it does here in a minute. All right, so we're still holding. It's been half an hour. We're still holding 17 pounds, so we're going to go ahead and start filling this thing up. So like I said, we just turn this and make sure our tube's still in the coolant here, and away we go. As soon as you open it up, it starts pulling coolant through. All you got to do is make sure it stays in the bucket here and it fills itself up. No spill, no mess. We just let it do its thing. We've got a 50-50 mix here. We live in the high desert, so antifreeze is pretty important over here. We definitely get below zero, so definitely have to pay attention to freezing. The nice thing about this is it's pretty quick. Not quite as fast as dumping it in on your own, but definitely cleaner, and you don't have to worry about stuff as much. And when you're done and it loses the vacuum, you'll start getting an air bubble at the top here. And then you'll see that coolant isn't pulling anymore. So what I do is grab that hose, that's it. We did everything right. We should be completely full. Climb up here, and we are all the way at the top, and that's how that works. We know that there's no leak, so we don't have to worry about pressure testing it, because with it holding vacuum, we know that there's no more leaks there, so pressure test isn't going to do anything. So all we got to do is put it back together and start her up. So I'm going to do that now, and then we'll bring it back and show you. All right, now we're just reversing our disassembly process. So we've already got our hose back on and filled with coolant. Make sure our air filter tube's all the way on. Snug it up. Plug the intake air temp sensor plug back in. Make sure we're still seated good. Grab our two tools back out. Make sure we're still looking good. And let's fire up. Well, I think that does it for us today. Tomorrow we'll go ahead and start in the back. We'll flip you around here and show you what's going on back there here in a sec. But plus, no leak. Coolant's good. Wheeling's better. Let's show you the back. So here's my back fuel cell setup right now. I don't know the brand of this tank. I think it might have been an RCI that someone's modified. You can see where the fuel sending unit used to be, and they've modified it to accept a stock Chevy style sending unit. So it's got an intake pump and all that stuff. It's not a bag tank. It's a 19-gallon fuel cell, which I like. The way they did this, they modified this. So originally I used to fill here. So they added this fuel filler, which is done really well. But one, it's hard to fill. This tube is extremely small inside. Inside diameter, I think it's like 3/4 of an inch. So it's not very big. And then this tank, I'm sure some of it has to do with how I mounted it. I guess they're pretty picky on how to mount. I didn't find that out until afterwards. But currently I just have it cradled on the frame rails here with some angle iron and straps holding it down. What I found was that there is enough deflection in the frame tubes that it causes the seams to crack. And this one made it one trip before it's cracked from here clear up to here. We did the old soap trick and actually got us back so we weren't puking gas all the way back. It does work if it's not bad, but the further we got, the worse it got. So that's going to come out here tomorrow, and we'll redo our fuel lines. I have to figure out how to get my permanently mounted cooler out of there, because I'm going to have to get back here. That's where our fuel pump, that's currently the Corvette style fuel filter, which will stay, but we're going to put a fuel pump in front of that using -8 line, or -8 fittings, and I think it's 5 or 1/2 inch line. So we'll get a little bit more fuel delivery out of it. Wiring will be pretty easy. It's just 2 wires to the fuel pump. Currently I have the sending unit and everything hooked up. That won't be like that. I'll have just a stock Chevy style gas gauge that I'll put somewhere. I don't know. But for tonight, that's it for today, and we'll bring it back tomorrow and show you what we're doing. Hopefully we get this thing running tomorrow and go drive around the yard or something. This being on call is horrible. You guys in utilities and stuff, you know what I'm talking about. On call is the bane of everybody's existence. You can't go anywhere, you can't do much. just sitting in your driver's seat and make vroom vroom sounds. So we'll see you tomorrow.